What is it?
Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it. We could see it before.
No, I can't see it. Take it
Well, I
higher.
just gotta make sure you can see the whole thing.
Take it. Why don't we just take it off?
Nah.
It's The Lion King. I'll say that I've been feeling pretty shitty about this movie. I don't think it looks very good. I don't think that there's much of a point to remake, because the original Lion King is a classic. It's a masterpiece.
It holds up very well.
And
still.
this is a no-win situation, because if you make the same thing, then what the fuck did you do that for? But if you change things, why are you changing the fucking Lion King?
Why are you changing Hamlet, really?
Well, they changed Hamlet to begin with.
Since you're not shooting a live-action movie, I don't see what the problem with putting color in here was, and I hope that there is more color than they're showing me in the trailer.
I'm interested to see. I can't say whether or not I'm excited because I don't really know how to feel. I love The Lion King. I grew up. I said it's either The Lion King or Toy Story was my first movie in the theater. I don't know which one it was, but it was one of those. And I'm excited to see it just because I love the story of The Lion King. I don't know if I'm going to love this particular story of The Lion King, but we'll see.
Yeah. I don't want to see this right now. I'm gonna do my absolute best to go into this with an open mind. But I do feel like I could give you a review of this movie right now, and it will be exactly the same as when I get out.
Yeah, for me, Lion King is my favorite Disney movie, easily. I think as more stuff has come out, I've become less and less hopeful and excited for this movie. When I first heard it, could not be more excited. Donald Glover's in it. I love Donald Glover. As more names got attached to it, as more got released to it, like more stuff was seen, it just kind of just slowly started going and going and going. And I've heard very brief things about this, and again, I'm trying to go in with an open mind. I really hope to love it. Hands in. This is gonna be a new thing we do. On 3, Lion King. 1, 2, 3, Lion King!
Hi, everybody. We just got out of The Lion King 2019. Right now, what I want to do is everybody just go around, say what you thought overall. Who wants to start?
I'll start. Overall, I felt that this movie was very heartless. It was just kind of missing a lot of the oomph. I mean, I don't want to speak for the rest of you, but I feel like we kind of knew going in, and I understand why people said that, and that's kind of what we got. It was just an overall very hollow, heartless movie.
I mean, I know I didn't say anything before, but it almost does upset me that I was correct. I really could have reviewed this movie without seeing it. I mean, you put it well, but I in the movie I was like, it really just feels like I'm going through the motions. We're not really doing it here,
I honestly think I might be the crazy person here, because while everybody's talking about how this is a really hollow movie but the visuals are great, I don't think the visuals are that great. Now, are they passable? Sure. But honestly, it is so jarring to see a human voice coming out of a photorealistic lion.
With the mouth not even moving.
That I can't enjoy this movie no matter how real it looks. Oh, the CGI looks so real. What year is it? Every movie has extremely realistic CGI. The only difference here is that everything is CGI. And therefore, you really have no excuse for it to look anything but fantastic, because you're making a cartoon.
It's hard to put my finger on my emotions with this movie, because there were parts of it that I definitely enjoyed, but I think overall it was severely lacking. Too much overacting for no emotioned animals to be on screen. I also couldn't care less about Beyonce, and I know that makes me like a traitor to basic white women around, but I hate her. I guess you could say she's talented, but in my opinion, she's overhyped. I just didn't like the way her voice sounded at all in any aspect, in singing, in acting. I didn't like any of it, and I felt that her voice, specifically her twang to her voice, did not go with African lions, and I didn't like it. So I'm going to say that the worst part of this movie was Beyonce, and I'm going to stand by that.
And she was bad.
She was bad. She was
Uh,
really bad.
You know who else was really bad? Was Donald Glover.
It hurts me to admit to that as well, because I am like the biggest Donald Glover fan.
Wanna
Oh,
put
So
that-
everybody
but it-
except for me, apparently. Not that I don't like him, I just...
It doesn't matter how much I like him, though. The fact is that he delivered this like he was reading for G.I. Joe. It wasn't good. It was flat. Really, I was laughing. That's the issue. This was so bad that I was laughing at it.
I said it before when we were walking out, though. It's like, no matter how good of a performance he does, I'm not going to say that he's doing well, but the animation is not doing him any favors at all. You can't, any emotions that might be there, you can't see it on the animals at all.
The biggest issue I have with the animations in this movie entirely is not even the lack of facial expressions. It's the lack of complete body language as well. There's so many scenes in the original where like they convey emotion just by movement, and that doesn't happen. Little things that you can do to convey emotion that's just like wasn't done.
I'll say that my biggest problem with the visuals actually is the lack of character design.
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of, because you have no, there basically
no
isn't
sticking
any.
out.
It's supposed to just look like real lions, and that's all it does. The closest that you get, I think, is that Scar gets a relatively,
Small name.
relative to the rest of the cast, a relatively unique design. But I'm watching this movie, and there's moments that I literally couldn't tell the lions apart because they just look like lions. I'll never see an image from this movie and connect a lion to a character.
I actually thought that as well, especially when you had the cubs of Simba and Nala. You could barely tell them apart. If they were next to each other, you didn't know who was who.
And going back to like the voice acting, that's really the only thing that could have saved this, because we knew from the get that these CG lions were not going to emote. You could have saved it with a good voice performance, which you can prove in the movie because Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner are fucking awesome in
They
this
are.
movie.
They're the best part of the whole movie.
They really made it their own. Like, just because, you know, you're recreating an iconic role doesn't mean that what you're doing still can't be good.
Because the difference is they're having fun. No matter what visual you put with it, you want to listen to the voice because it's funny and it's engaging. And for some reason, the rest of the cast can't do that.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue, at least voice acting wise, is the fact that Donald Glover and Beyonce did not record together. And I think when it comes to voice acting or any type of animating or anything like that, like, it's so important for the people to be in the same room together.
Especially for non-voice actors. A lot of professionals can get away with it.
Yeah.
But
Right, but these aren't voice actors.
But like,
Right.
yeah,
These are
like
just
Robin Williams did
actors.
it with what's his name from Full House. Like, they recorded together, like, and you can feel the chemistry, but like it's just lacking in this movie because they aren't even in the same room.
And then I gotta talk about James Earl Jones, because as much as people are like, oh, it's so great that he's back as
His
Mufasa,
voice is more distinguished now.
it's exactly the same thing. And I don't understand why you're paying James Earl Jones a second time to come in and record again.
If you told me that they didn't and they just replayed the lines, I would believe you.
No, I knew that
For
they
some of
didn't.
them.
There were so many lines that were delivered differently in this movie.
See, now, as a casual viewer of The Lion King, I would have never pegged that. And if you
Yeah,
put
well,
the same
I
one,
pegged it-
I
pegged
would
it
have.
immediately.
All right, fair enough.
He does have the biggest cringe moment for me in the whole movie, where when Mufasa dies, when that happens in the original, it's obviously a very emotional moment. In this one, not only do I feel nothing, but when Mufasa falls off the cliff and they play that very human scream, I don't know what it is, but it's so funny to me.
I heard you laugh in the theater.
And by the time that it's over, it's like, I can't feel for this anymore.
I will watch the original no matter, it's not an age thing. I will watch it tonight and still bawl my eyes out. I will cry no matter what. Like, I started tearing up in preparation for this scene to happen. But when it actually came time for Mufasa to die, I was just like, oh, okay.
I can't say I'm disappointed, because I've been a naysayer of this movie since they announced it at Comic-Con. I've never thought this looked interesting, but I don't know, I'll admit it, I'm petty and I like to say I told you so. So I did, and this movie gets a D-. The only reason it gets above an F is because I really do think Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner did a good job.
There are positives to this movie somewhat. Like, I think some parts were decent. There are definitely parts that are very lackluster and, you know, missing a lot to this movie. At the end of the day, I feel like it's very kind of just middle of the pack. I don't hate it. You know, I don't like it very much. So I'm just going to give it right in the middle, which is a C.
I'm going to piggyback on that because that was pretty much my thought exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. There were parts I enjoyed. There were parts I really didn't enjoy. Everything was pretty lackluster. And if somebody asked me if they should see this movie, I would say just watch The Lion King. I'm also going to give it a C. I was even teetering on like a C-, but I'll just stick right in the middle with a C. I don't really have any strong feelings about it otherwise. Standout performances, Billy Eichner, Seth Rogen, which I'm happy about. I love Seth Rogen, so I was happy that that he was able to, you know, make this role his own. Same with Billy Eichner. I feel like he's a kind of person that like isn't really like a movie person. Like he's kind of just like a TV guy. So it was nice to see him in a movie, and he actually was probably, if not the best, one of the best things in the movie.
It's hard for me to call this overtly bad because I truly believe the story is very good. So at the end of the day, you were starting with at the beginning of the day, I guess you're starting with a very good base. But you know, just it falls flat on a lot of other levels. Yeah, it just falls flat in regards to the original in every way, in any way that I could possibly think of. There's really the only reason to watch this over the original is to just be like, wow, you know what? They did do a really good job of making them look like real lions. That's not to be ignored. They did a fantastic job at that. It was just a bad decision. So yeah, I'm gonna go D here.
Go watch the 1994 original Lion King.
Good night.